Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Disc of Truth. Today's episode, The Dating Game. I'm Jono.
I'm James.
And thank you very much for listening. So, before we start, let's just get into the whole nitty-gritty of it, okay? I fucking hate online dating. Absolutely fucking hate it, okay? I have been a user for... I saw something yesterday, and I don't remember the exact thing, and it was something like how many days people had used on a day in or whatever, and it was like something like let's just say 300 days, blah blah blah, and I was like, do you know what? Fuck you, statistic, because I'm like 15 times that. So, you know, I was like, screw you. Actually, screw you. But anyway, this is very much how today's episode is going to go, so I apologize in advance. But let's get started. So, James, right, you are in a committed relationship.
Yeah.
Fair play to you. Congratulations. All that stuff. So you're not as, and I hate to say experienced with online dating as I am, but in your generalized opinion, what do you think of it?
So yeah, I'm in a serious relationship, and prior to that, I was single for quite a while.
How long's quite a while, James?
I say, well, okay. I think it was probably about 2 years for me.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah, yeah. I realise you're the wrong person to talk to about this, but I did all right at college, I suppose. But I wanted some time for myself, so I wasn't on any online dating or anything like that. I wasn't looking to meet anybody in the 2 years. That was my 2 years. And towards the end, I realised, I was like, okay, well, I'd like to start getting out there and dating. And I was really, really lucky to have met my partner naturally. It wasn't an online thing. I'd known her for a while, and we started talking, and something formed there, which was great. However, prior to that, maybe a week or so before, I was thinking, okay, well, I probably need to start setting up an online dating app. And it terrified me. I hated the thought of it. I'd heard so many horror stories. I'd heard them from you. I'd heard them from other people. And I really desperately didn't want to do it. And I think I lucked out massively by meeting my partner the way I did and dodging that bullet. And that's kind of how I feel about it. It's a bullet, and I have no idea how you're able to be on there and go through it all. Because, yeah, the thought of it for me, I just don't want. I don't want to do that.
Well, how I manage it is one single piece of advice is take regular breaks, because you need that time to rebuild your soul. Because yes. So no, all right. So let's get into it then. Let's get into the nitty-gritty side of online dating. Okay. So we're just going to go, essentially, this is going to be Jono's experience with online dating featuring James, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to sit in the corner and be like, oh my God, I got to avoid all this. Wow.
So Tinder. So for those who don't know, Tinder is an app where you put a profile, you put your pictures on, blah, 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 your interests, stuff like that. And then you can swipe left to say no or right to say yes. There are other rubbish like super likes and whatever, but who cares about that, because you have to pay for them and no one wants to pay for them. Anyway, so to use Tinder, what you do is you make your profile. You'll see the gender of your choice is profile, and then what you should be doing is having a look at the profile, look at the different pictures, see if you like the look of them, and then say yes or no, right? And or you could be like some people and just go yes, 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 yes. Don't do that. That's how Tinder comes to believe that you're a bot, and then they put you in the same category as other bots, and then you only ever see bots, so you'll never get any actual matches. Anyway, so yeah, Tinder Tinder's not great. Tinder, a lot of people have told me over the years that they only really see Tinder as like a hookup app.
Okay, because that's the impression that I've been given by other people. I won't name names of people, but while I was single, the line was always, "Oh, get on Tinder. You know, you can find someone for the night." I was like, that doesn't sound fun. Thank you.
Yeah, I never got that. I never really got that impression. Like, I never encountered anyone who was just looking for a hookup. Maybe I was asking the wrong questions, but or maybe it's just the fact that I never got a fucking match. But you know, who knows? Who knows?
You're not annoyed or bitter about it, of course.
No, definitely not annoyed or bitter about it. But no, Tinder, in my opinion, is probably the one that I use the most, and it's the one that I don't want to use the most.
So why do you use it the most then? If that's a...
It's no. Do you know what? That's actually a very good question. It is because the one I would like to use the most, I will talk about in a bit, okay? And you'll come to soon realize the difference as to why. And it all comes down into, I could sum up the difference in one word. Before we even talk about the app, one word: laziness. Okay? Laziness. The reason being is because it's very easy to lie in bed or chill out on the sofa or wherever you are, or do you know what, even sat on the toilet, okay, and you can just do
where all great romances are born.
all good romances are born on the shitter. But you heard it first, guys, from the Disc of Truth. Anyway,
that's actually the second time the Disc of Truth has talked about consuming media on the toilet.
I think it is, yeah.
It's our thing now, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, you could just listen to this podcast on the toilet. So, you know.
Message us. Are you on the toilet? Right? Don't do that. But yeah, whatever.
Joe, if you want to, by all means, I will accept it. Anyway, so got a little distracted there. Anyway, so it's very easy to just sit there and to swipe. And you get a certain, if you've not paid for premium or whatever, you get a certain amount of apps per day. So it's very easy to just go through and just get them done. Just get them done, right? And then, so it's just convenience. It's very easy. It doesn't take a lot of thinking. Even looking at their profiles, which I do take the time to look through their pictures, have a little read if they've put something. Which is something I will talk about actually in regards to profiles themselves, but that covers all aspects of online dating.
I do have a potentially stupid question then, from just from picking up from what you've said, because obviously I'm very outside on this.
Go for it.
Your wording, I realise it's potentially not how you feel about it, unless it is, but that you get it done, your stuff. It kind of sounds like online dating, at least from the Tinder side of things, is a very clinical thing, which...
I mean, there's a reason I said about having to rebuild your soul.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it is... From... If you are just looking for a hookup, clinical's probably good, because you're like, I want this. Can you do this? Yeah, all right, done. But if you're looking for someone to, you know, in a romanticized sense, build a life with, that it does... I don't think there's anything wrong with online dating. You've got to meet people. But from what you've just said, it already sounds like that there's a lot of... It's not the right... It doesn't feel right. That kind of attitude. You can't meet somebody and just be like, oh, yeah, whatever. Swipe. I don't know. Just from an outside perspective, it feels very clinical.
I mean, I've been using online dating for... I don't want to say an actual time because no, do you know what? Fuck it. I've been using online dating for probably something along the lines of 13 years. Okay? So I am tired. Right? So yeah, my like I am so tired of online. I've been on dates in that time and whatever, but like my collective experience with online dating just hasn't been good.
Okay.
But the issue is, like, it's not... it's not as easy these days to realistically go out and meet someone.
So would you say that the climate of dating has actually shifted to you do start online dating before you do anything else? So is this like a potential extra step that we never used to have or a while back?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like probably these days a lot of people will meet online as a first meeting point.
Okay.
But that obviously goes to say that doesn't mean people can't meet offline, or people can't meet not using online dating at all. Like that's a given. People,
Yeah.
People might be introduced from friends, or you might have a really cliche moment and meet someone in a supermarket.
Okay.
I don't know. You could be reaching for the same jar of Marmite, and there you go. Or whatever jars are available. It was just the first one that popped in my head. But yeah, I'm so tired. I'm so tired with online dating, and I don't feel like there's any other option.
Okay.
So
yeah, because unless you're going out with mates and everything, yeah, I was at the same point, when I was single, because I didn't think, okay, well, I'm going to go out and do this. I had the same thought as that clearly you had. You said, right, I'm going to go on online dating, because that does seem to be what the culture is of how you meet people, how you meet new people, and as you get older, your friendship groups and who you see, it does shrink, and it's the interactions you have are more fleeting. So yes, unless you have your Marmite moment and the screen goes white and then the angel starts singing and all that sort of stuff. Unless you have that,
can we call it the Marmite moment?
The Marmite moment, if you want. Yeah.
Do you know what? Regardless of whether you're reaching for a jar of Marmite or the last loaf of bread on the shelf,
it's a Marmite moment.
It is the Marmite moment. You heard it here first, guys. The disc of truth.
We're coining that. Yeah.
We are coining that one. Anyway, we're coming up with a lot of good things today.
Yeah.
So, right. Anyway, back to business, right? So, yeah, that's the nitty gritty of Tinder, okay? And a lot of people do say it's more of a hookup app. My personal experience is that I've never used it for trying to hook up anyway. But I've never really encountered people who are just looking for a hookup on there. So whatever. But yeah, for whatever reason, I don't get that many matches anyway. So yeah, maybe people just...
Maybe you should start looking for hookups then. Maybe you are looking in the wrong one.
Maybe I should start. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. Anyway, so with Tinder out the way. So Tinder's probably... The reason we start with Tinder is it's probably one of the most popular, by the way.
Okay.
So just going a couple of random statistics, so 42% of all people who use dating services or online dating services in the UK do use Tinder. So
okay,
it's
that's
a very
quite a large
popular
amount,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, so
because there's quite a few dating apps now. I know some of them are more specialised, but yeah, that's for the amount that's out there. That's quite a high number.
Yeah, so it does look as though there's about 5 million UK users for Tinder. Okay, so population of 65 million, I think it was.
Something like that, yeah. I think we looked
65, 67, who's to count a couple of million? But yeah, so it don't really matter the exact figure. But yeah, we're looking roughly, this was 7.5 odd million users. Okay. So that's quite a lot. So the thing about online dating, and this is actually across all of it. This is across every single one of them. There is a distinctly higher number of male users than there is female users. That is a fact. Okay, and that to me, right, makes it seem as though it is harder
Mm-hmm.
for a man to find someone than a woman.
Yeah, okay.
Because they have, people I've spoken to, females I've spoken to in the past who use online dating, they get matches by the minute. Not matches by the minute. They get likes like by the minute. Like
Okay.
they get an obscene amount of.
I can imagine that's quite a difficult thing as well if you're bombarded by all of this as well. So,
So even if you do match with someone, right, you have to do something to stand out from the crowd, because there's going to be a lot of people that she is also potentially matched with. So you need to do something or say something or be different to keep her attention on you. That is my opinion. My opinion on why a lot of there is a lot of ghosting in regards to, like, once you've met up and you've gone on a date, ghosting's just ghosting's not cool. But before you've even met, there's no real emotional connection or anything at that point. So
no, it's just words on a screen, isn't it?
So
it's very easy
ghosting,
just to stop in it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it still sucks, absolutely, but yeah, it happens quite a lot, and that's the reason I believe why is because they have started talking to someone else at the same time as you, and that other person has done or said something or to just be a little more interesting, to keep their attention a little bit more. And they decided to focus on that person instead of you, and that sucks. But unfortunately, it does happen. So anyway, moving on to my next app, or the next app, is called Bumble. Okay, so fundamentally, Bumble is exactly the same as Tinder. Okay? It is the exact same concept. You swipe left to say no, you swipe right to say yes. The difference with Bumble is if you were to match with someone, the only way for you to talk to them is if the female talks first. So they have to send the first message. Okay?
So is this kind of combating the amount of... So, yeah, you can't be bombarded by loads and loads of guys messaging. It's...
Yeah.
So instead of getting into a conversation, then potentially getting ghosted or saying no, they have the option to decide themselves, probably earlier on. I don't know. Does that seem right, or am I not thinking about it correctly?
No, you seem about right with that. It's annoyingly though, is I don't know, there's a very, I guess it's an old school stereotypical view where the man has to message first, right? And I think women maybe forget that Bumble, they have to actually message first. If they don't send a message within 24 hours, by the way, you just get automatically matched.
Oh, okay.
So if they don't send anything, you're just gone. That's it. I actually got a match on you say that on Friday, and they didn't say anything, so we got unmatched.
Okay.
But yeah, so it is what it is. But yeah, it's weird. I don't get it. It's like I see this thing on. I see women saying, like, on their profiles, like, oh, I love matching and not talking, and it's like, we're exactly the same. We're exactly the same because women do it too, and this isn't an argument. This isn't a like, oh, men talk more, women talk more, blah blah blah. This is just saying that every person does it, every single person.
Okay.
Both sides do it. Both sides are as bad as each other. Yeah. But yeah, Bumble's a tough one because when I do get a match, I tend to find that 9 times out of 10 in my this is actually, I don't know, I don't keep a track of my matches, whatever, but in the last 9 out of 10, I can probably think it's safe to say that they haven't sent a message.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't give a reason, but yeah, I can't say if that's exactly true, because as I said,
But from your
keep track.
experience, yeah.
But from my experience, I don't remember the last time that I did have a conversation on Bumble. But yeah, so that one is Bumble, right?
Okay.
So moving on to now, I said there was an app that I would like to use more. This is the
Right.
one.
Okay.
Okay. This is actually the one. So this one is called Hinge. Okay. And
I have not heard of that one. I don't know this
so
one.
the whole concept of Hinge, the way they even like market themselves is that you get on Hinge to get off Hinge. Like,
okay. I mean,
so
that's understandable.
That's how online dating should work. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be there for like, oh, I'm going to have a year subscription for this, because then if that's the case, then the company has no incentive whatsoever to get you matched to people.
Yeah, that's why I think that is actually one of the reasons why I think Tinder and Bumble are actually quite bad, because I did a test once, right? And I would like to just say that as soon as this test was over, I deleted the account, okay? I wasn't interested in catfishing people. But I made an account that said it was female, okay?
Right.
I didn't post any pictures, any fake pictures or anything like that. It was just a blank. It was just blank, basically. I think it required me to put a picture, so I probably put up a picture of a cake or something. But yeah, so there was no pictures on the account, right? Within like a minute of me creating this account, I was getting matches. So, but I was ignoring those. The idea was that I set the distance to the smallest distance possible, and I wanted to see how long it would take to see my own account appear.
Okay.
That was the only reason for the test, and it took a long time. So it did lead me to believe that to really question, how often am I actually being seen? So this brings me to Hinge.
Right.
Okay. So with Hinge, the way it works is you put pictures of yourself, but then you can also put sort of like conversation prompts. So like, for example, 2 truths and a lie, or like where, you know, I can't even remember some of them, but yeah, but like conversation prompts, so like an icebreaker, or like controversial opinion, blah 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 blah, stuff like that.
It's something for someone to see, and then gives you a lead in for them to message.
Yeah, and what you do is you basically select that prompt on their profile, and then you send them a little message, basically, and it doesn't hide the like or anything. So if someone likes you, you see it like straight away. Basically, it will come up saying so and so liked you, right? But at this point, you haven't matched with them. Okay, so what you then do is it brings them up. You can then look at their profile, and then you can choose to match them or not. So you completely see who they are, and that's and then you choose. Then you go from there, and that's why I think Hinge is probably the best one, because you can. It doesn't feel like you might take a while to be seen or whatever like that, but because it doesn't hide the fact that you've liked someone in the first place. Like with Tinder, if you get a like on Tinder might tell you that you've got a like, but you can't see who that is, so you won't know. If you actually encounter them during your swipes and you say no, it actually comes up and says, "Oh, you missed a like," blah blah blah. But by that point, they're already gone. And if you didn't like them in the first place, then it doesn't really matter. Yeah. But the fact is, Tinder, Hinge even, sorry, doesn't hide your likes, which is really nice. So for someone like me who does feel like Tinder and Bumble hide me a bit more, this is my opinion. I can't say this is true. I don't know. So because I feel like they hide me a bit, I do think Hinge is a lot better because of that fact, because it's not hidden. The reason that I don't use Hinge more, and this is where I come back to laziness, is because there's a lot more of a time investment in order to send these messages. You really have to. I really feel like I have to have a think about what to say.
Okay.
And yeah, to me that just that's probably why I find it so difficult to use, even though I do really want to use it more. But yeah, it's a tough one. But yeah, I mean, those are the big three that I use.
Okay.
I mean, what's your thoughts, James? Because I know I've been talking a while now, and I'm sure our listeners would love to hear your input a little more. So
I mean, I don't really have obviously I don't really have too much personal experience on it. The Hinge one is an interesting one. From what you've told me, the Tinder and Bumble, it sounds like there's a lot of loops or hoops you've got to jump through, and it's sort of like, well, this, then you've got to do this, and then there's this stage kind of thing where, yeah, Hinge seems to be like you're trying to speak to somebody on a personal level because you can sort of see who they are, maybe more. I don't know. Out of the three, if I had to go on to, if I was in a position where I had to, the Hinge one sounds better. I get what you're saying about convenience, but earlier when I said about it sounds very clinical, yeah, I'd probably avoid those ones and go to the one where it does take a bit more time and effort. Because then hopefully if you do meet somebody, they've put time and effort in, and I don't know, that seems to make more sense to me.
Yeah,
that's my thoughts on the apps that you've brought up, obviously.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's the Hinge does feel a lot better to use and than other ones. But I mean, just to brush up, because I mean, there's more than just those three apps. There are some others. There is what's it called, Badoo. So I'm not going to go into what Badoo is, but my opinion on Badoo is that it's completely filled with single mothers. But
that's another one I've not heard of. So,
but yeah, there's Badoo. I only briefly really use Badoo, and then you've got Plenty of Fish, which is terrible now. Plenty of Fish used to be really good, and then
okay, because I had a friend who used that app. I know that much, but I don't know if he had any success there or whatnot. So,
when I say really good, I don't mean really good. Plenty of Fish used to be alright, and now I feel like it's a waste of time. Same with OkCupid, that used to be alright, but I feel like I feel like they tried to evolve, and just the wrong way.
Okay,
but yeah.
I mean, I guess if Tinder is such a powerhouse, if it's over 40% of users, and you've got all these other apps, and you've got to do something to stand out, I guess.
Yeah,
it's such a weird thing, and I'm going to say something that is probably the most derogatory, horrible thing, and I don't mean it to come across like this, but it's really interesting to hear. It's really interesting to hear you talk about these apps and what they do, when essentially the apps do the same thing, where you are spending money to meet people. Their commodity is people. That's what their stock is. That's what they're selling. And it's all you're sort of doing is sort of saying you prefer one shop window over another. It's a really interesting thing, because inherently, what do you want from the app? You want to meet somebody.
I mean, I want to get off it.
Well, you want to get off the app, but you do that by meeting somebody. So it is really interesting to hear you talk about, well, this one does this and this does that, where the end goal is the exact same sort of thing. It's quite an interesting thought about it, and I'd be interested to know if certain apps attract certain people, or if, like you're on multiple ones. Just I don't know. I'm assuming I mean, do you do it to increase chances, or do you do it just to meet different kinds of people, or
Increased chances.
fair enough? So,
Absolutely.
so by
Yeah.
that logic, if there's more men than there are women on dating apps, by that logic, there'll be more men with multiple dating apps then, which then
Oh
compounds
yeah,
that problem a
probably.
lot more then, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's no solution to it. Um, the Do you know what? The one I like the most is the one that's not online at all, and that's speed dating.
Mm.
Um, Speed dating is fun. It because it gets you out. It gets you physically meeting face to face
Yeah.
new people, and that's actually the most interesting thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to use online dating. I really don't. But I feel like it is the only option outside of being paying to be put in a room with multiple potential partners.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a real tough one, to be honest. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, yeah, as I said, I don't want to use it, but I feel like this day and age, it's kind of like you have to if you
Yeah.
want to find someone. So because the odds of you having that Marmite moment just aren't that high.
I don't know if it's because I'm in a committed relationship and, me and my partner are very, very happy. But we've been together for 5 years now. And during that time, there hasn't been a single person I've bumped into. I haven't had like a Marmite moment with someone else. So it's the thought of, well, if I wasn't with my partner now, I'm pretty sure that if I was still going off, if I wasn't on dating apps, I would not have met anybody in this time. There's no one I've bumped into or spoken to that I've had any thought about, or there's been any spark of anything. They've just been people I've met that I've just either gotten on with or haven't. So I think, yeah, if I was single, I would have had to have gone on to online dating because I'd still be single to today. Is
Yeah,
is that's my view of it.
it's a tough one.
Yeah, because everyone who I've dated, because it's people I've either known through somewhere else, or when you were young, you're at college or university and you meet people on your courses, or other people who've seen people. Yeah, I've never had an experience of going on online, and it does seem that during the time that I've been in relationships, the culture of dating has evolved to that level. That's where it is. So yeah, I'm 100% convinced if I wasn't with my partner that I wouldn't have met anybody in this time
Mm.
naturally.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a combination of, um, like you have to use these apps, but do you get seen on these apps? There's no way of knowing. Um, is there something in place that stops you being seen? Is there some hidden algorithm that decides that you're not interesting enough, you're not good looking enough? We don't know these things. We don't know.
Mm.
Um, Personally, I feel like maybe there is, but maybe that's just me being bitter. Who knows?
I mean, the
Um,
cynical part of me looking on a business thing is if I wanted to set up a dating app, you'd need to draw the line between, well, you need to make money, so the longer people are on there, the more money you make. But you do need to have some people, obviously there's got to be some success, because otherwise it's a scam and people will see through that. But yeah, if I was running one of these sites, I'd have absolutely no interest whatsoever. There'd be no incentive for me to clear out my stock, as it were, and have a completely empty dating site. Oh, that's everyone in the country matched up. Oh, we're all good. Well, okay, I don't have a house anymore, then I've got no money. There'd be no
yeah,
incentive.
yeah. I mean that's the whole long and short of it, isn't it? Really,
Mm.
like they've made this thing to help people, but at the same time they need to make money.
Mhm.
So, but where along the lines, if this is true, where along the lines did they change their minds to say, oh, we need to keep people on it, so we need to actually limit how many matches they actually like physically see or whatever. This is all conspiracy theory talk, so I don't want to get too much into it. That's why I appreciate Hinge more than the other two, because if it's just someone does like me, it comes up and says, oh, so and so has liked me, I can then have a look, blah blah blah. Whereas Bumble will just say, oh, people are liking you, but I can't see them. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, so I think to sum it up, it all comes down to, well, again, conspiracy theory stuff, don't want to go into, but the idea of online dating is to get off online dating, and the apps themselves, even if you're a free user, which I would just like to say my experience with, I don't think I've actually, I think I paid for 6 months of Match.com once, but that was a few years ago now. I don't particularly remember much of my experience for it. I don't think it was very good, which is why I didn't really want to talk too much about it today, and also just because I don't remember. But
fair enough.
Yeah, I don't pay for Tinder, Bumble, or Hinge, so my experiences are only as a free user. Hence why I said you get a certain number of likes, blah blah blah. If you pay, you tend to actually get unlimited. But that's why when I was saying how far it was to see myself, like, and being set at the minimum distance, being on the same phone, being on the same, literally the same place. So whatever.
Yeah, statistically, it should be very, very easy to find yourself on there. Like you've whittled it down to a very small portion. So it's quite interesting that it took a while. That is interesting.
Yeah, so it all comes down to that sort of thing. But then, so that is my experience with online dating. It has not been very good. I don't have a very high opinion of it. Maybe things will be better this year. I've been saying that. Yeah,
you've been saying it for a while.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who've had success stories on it, but from your opinion, I'm going to make the assumption, and I've not had anybody tell me otherwise, I do know a few people who've been on dating sites. It doesn't sound like you go on there, you make an account, you meet someone, you have a conversation relatively quickly. It does sound like something that you are on for far too long. And then, is that how this culture gets about? Because you're talking about stuff that I have no idea about, but it sounds like it's something that's so ingrained in dating culture that there's almost like another world and another language and stuff that's what you're sort of living. It's a whole new lifestyle that I didn't realize really existed. Dating itself is hard, and meeting someone and having a connection is hard, and then to add all this extra stuff as well, it seems quite tough.
It is very tough. Yeah, it's that is bringing it back to the start of the episode. That is why I said take regular breaks, because you need to rebuild your soul. And I think that's about where we'll wrap it up for today's episode. We've talked a lot about online dating, but please let us know your experiences with online dating. If you've used it, how much success you've had, if you have any tips for me so I can get off it, by all means, just drop us a comment. But in the meantime, don't forget to leave us a like, subscribe, and keep following the Disc of Truth for more entertaining topics. If you have any ideas on what we should talk about, what you'd like to hear us discuss, then by all means, as I said, drop us a message and we will go from there. Thank you very much for listening, and we hope you will join us on the next episode. But in the meantime, bye-bye.